talk about these injuries, man. These injuries have been crazy, man. And I got a list of players we're gonna look at, and we'll just talk about how significant injuries could be to a team's success. How much of a downfall like these injuries can be to a team's success. I mean, all right, let's start off with Zion Williamson. All right, Zion, pretty much, we have a thing here where we talk about injury prone players, right? Zion's been injured coming into the league. You see what I'm saying? So it's tough, and we all know why Zion gets injured easily. It's his size, his frame, and what he's able to do. A guy like that shouldn't be jumping over the rim like that. You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot of reasons why Zion Williamson gets injured a lot, but his team will never get off. Like, they'll never be able to have a successful season if they can't learn how to play with Zion Williamson, because he's never available. You see what I'm saying? Same with other players like Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard's been injured every year, right? Paolo Banchero, he's young, and, I think this is probably not, honestly, I'd say it's probably his second injury, like big injury, and usually he's not out for a long time, right? But when you look at Paolo Banchero, he's solid. He has a solid body, takes care of himself. I think a lot of these players don't drink enough milk, man. I think they need to drink some more milk, help those bones. And yeah, man, I think these players, like even Durant, man, he's pretty frail, man. Like, you know what I mean? Those bones, frail bones are easy to crack. You see what I'm saying? That's why these guys, I think they need to drink some more milk. Stuff like that, like Chet Holmgren, and I'm just hoping, I don't even want to say his name, but Victor Wembanyama. I hope Victor Wembanyama doesn't get into this spell of injury. So far, Victor Wembanyama's been good, but he's probably eating that good tofu and all that good African stuff, dumpling and all that stuff, flour, milk. Drink that milk, that goat milk, for the bones, man. Like, these guys, they're just too frail, man. I think that's why we're having so many injuries. And it's tough for their team. When you look at all these players, Paolo Banchero for the Magics. The Magics were supposed to take a step forward this year. They had such a good year last year. And this is such a blow for the Magics. I mean, I don't think he's going to be out for too long. And I think they'll be okay. But, I just hope that this doesn't become a thing for Paolo, right? I wouldn't call Paolo injury prone yet. Now, he's far from that, right? But most of these players are. I mean, if I say Joel Embiid, you're going to have to say yes, for sure. Joel Embiid is injury prone, okay? Kevin Durant, yeah, somewhat, yes. Zion, yes, he is definitely injury prone. Kawhi, yes. And these are guys that you go into the season knowing that they're not going to be available at some point, whether it's a nagging injury or a new injury. It's tough, man. It's really tough to build your team around that. So these players, when I mention their name, obviously off the bat, you're going to know their teams are going to have a problem, and it's going to be mainly due to injuries. We talk about a lot of reasons why teams are not successful, but injuries, we kind of leave that to the back, And the Suns right now with Kevin Durant, I'm not sure. I'd have to take a look at what his injury is and how long he's going to be out. But they can't afford to be out any players. The roster, they're running on a very small amount of players already as is in terms of skills. So they're taking a tough blow. But we'll take a look at Phoenix. When are they playing? I think Phoenix will be playing tomorrow night. So if they're playing without Kevin Durant, we'll see how they look. But that's a tough blow for Phoenix. For the Sixers, I'm telling you, at some point, they're going to just scrap it up and rebuild. That's what's going to happen for the Sixers at some point, because it's just too much. And then what other team wants to take on that headache of Joel Embiid right now? I mean, just think about the asking price for Joel Embiid, right? And then to know that he's not going to be available. I mean, is he valuable? How valuable is Joel Embiid on the market when you really think about it? You know what I mean? Same with these other players like Kawhi, Zion Williamson. How valuable are these guys if you know they're going to be injured all the time? Right? I heard Chet got injured. I'm not sure exactly when. Like I said, I have to look into this again. But you know, they need Chet, right? And you know, Chet. You know, he's a tall guy. He can move the way he can move, and the way his body's built. You know that he's a guy who you're probably going to worry about when it comes to injuries. So we'll keep an eye on it, man. But, you know, from the fantasy standpoint, too, you somewhat feel it. I mean, this is nowhere near, like, bigger major teams and stuff like that. My little fantasy team don't mean nothing, but at least I know how it feels. Like, when you're missing players and it's like your team, you're losing every week because you're missing, like, key players because you built your team a certain way, you know, for your player to carry that. Whether you like, I have Joel Embiid on my team. I know that's my bad to pick him, but I felt like, you know, that would be a good choice to have him because of what he could offer, but he's not going to be there. And my team's suffering for it. So it's like you kind of get a peek into what these teams have to deal with, you know? So that's all I got for today about the topic on the injuries and whatnot.